Hi, my name is Juliana Ewer. I'm the owner and lead designer at J Squared Home Designs in the Houston, Texas area. My journey was a little different. For the majority of my life, I was a stay-at-home mom. Did a lot of charity work, a lot of the time involving homes, did a lot of showcase of homes tours, helped prepare the homes for the tours, raising money for children's charities and things like that. Started being asked to do commercial projects, ended up doing the very first one with an airline, a private airline, that had purchased a hangar and wanted the hangar to be more like a residence, have an office, have a lobby, have a pilot, a bedroom. And so I did that, and I actually had a friend of mine who was an interior designer, and I was very intimidated, and I said, come and help me. So we did it together, and I felt like I learned a lot through that process. And then fast forward to Hurricane Harvey. Those of you who are not in Houston may not realize that massive hurricane that hit was kind of followed with and came in with tornadoes. There were 15 tornadoes that hit in my community where I live, and our home was one of the lucky ones. They had a tornado come behind the levee and go all the way down our street, rip the roof off. So while some people were dealing with flooding from the bottom up, we were dealing with flooding from the top down. Not only did the roof come off, but the windows popped with the pressure of the tornado, and water was seeping into the walls. So we had about a 9-month remodel, repair. We had to move all of the furniture out of the home. And by the time we did that, we decided, let's move. So we had to get the home ready for sale. We hired a staging company to come in. The home was rather large, and what they put in the home didn't look very good. So we asked them we fired them. And my husband said, why don't you just do it yourself? So I bought furniture, I staged the home, and in a few days, I started having neighbors, realtors, people that we had known tangentially in the neighborhood call and say, who staged the house? And I said that I did, and they wanted my help. So I literally called an attorney, an accountant, the bank, and a friend to help, and started staging homes pretty quickly. Within 30 days, we had several homes staged completely. Had to find a place to store things when they started to sell. And in 60 days, we had 2 residential interior design inquiries, and started going, how did this happen? This is nuts. We weren't expecting that to happen. So took a trip to High Point Market, got my business registered with High Point, and sourced some wonderful vendors for the residential projects. And little by little, that took over the business. I think that my design superpower would be just client-centric design. I have clients constantly that will tell me, and it makes me feel great. Wow, this turned out way better than we ever envisioned, and this is way better than what we had asked for. And I find that listening to people tell you what they want, and then actually what they really want may be something different. I try to, in the design process, design the home or design the spaces a couple of different ways. I design with what they tell me they want it to look like. I present a second design with what I think they want it to look like. And then I present a third design that is a little outside the box. And 9 times out of 10, the design they pick is not the design that they've expressed. It's the design that I've kind of curated to incorporate their lifestyle, incorporate how they live, how they entertain, if they have children, etc. And then it's pretty funny that the outside of the box design, there's usually something from that that they're like, we would love to incorporate this crazy chandelier that nobody ever talked about. Sometimes they'll say, oh, I want a contemporary design, and they may not understand what that means. And so I asked them to send me 3 inspiration photos. I'll take your word for it, but send me three pictures of what you feel that means. And 9 times out of 10, they'll send me a transitional photo with even a little bit more of a modern twist. And a traditional twist. And you're like, you don't want modern or contemporary. You want a little more of a transitional design. And so terminology, I think, can sometimes be a hindrance. And the way to hone that in is to see what actually makes them excited and see what actually it is that they like. A lot of times people will ask for referrals for either a general contractor or a subcontractor, and general contractors are amazing. At least mine is, that I work with. But sometimes people have smaller jobs and they don't need a GC. They want a subcontractor, someone that does wallpaper, someone that paints, maybe even a custom cabinet maker. And I love to try them out in my own home. So if I have a project and I'm like, wow, I'd really like to wallpaper this wall or wallpaper a powder bathroom, I'll hire someone to do it. And if they're wonderful, that becomes my go-to person. I love to have 2 go-to people, but that becomes my go-to person. I know their work, I know the quality, I know that they clean up, I know that there's not wallpaper glue all over the sink when they're finished. Same thing with painters. I think painting is one of the most difficult. Seems very simple, but it's a difficult project, and it's difficult for clients to be satisfied. Clients will look at every corner. They will look at every line along the ceiling and the crown, and they should. They're paying for something to be done, and they're paying for something to be done well. Does the painter caulk? What is the final look of the project? And so, absolutely, if I can find a fun wall to paint or find something to do, that's how I like to vet people. You wouldn't know it looking at me, but when I was younger, in my 30s, I was a national Taekwondo champion in the women's division. It started as a crazy little time killer. My 2 little boys at the time, they're grown men now, but they wanted to do Taekwondo. And instead of sitting in the lobby, oh my gosh, a lot of moms, we would sit in the lobby for 2 hours waiting for them to finish up, and you're sitting there bored. So a couple of moms, we decided to go ahead and take classes with the kids and do the adult classes later. And I got kind of talked into doing tournaments when I was brand new, and I started winning them. And I guess it kind of drove that for me. And I wound up, I guess, in like 04, 05, 06, I was the consecutive women's champion in forms and free design and sparring, ranked number 1 in the nation, and became an instructor and held a senior 2nd degree black belt, and hung that up in 2006. But that's kind of unusual.